Hey there, we're live. Thank you so much for joining me. One of these days, I'm going to get back to doing these at 4:30, but I'm doing it now, and that's the important thing. Uh, you have to get the information you need, and we're here to give you that information. It's not just like information like how much the Dow went up or the how much the market went down or something. That is actually meaningless. Really, you think what the market did today has anything to do with your financial well-being in the future? It doesn't, unless you're someone who procrastinates. And that means, well, you know, we could be going into a recession. There's a war in Europe, bad relationship with China, ICBMs in North Korea. I don't know, banking issues. You're right. Silicon Valley Bank failed. Is this going to spread to more banks? The Fed's going to keep raising rates, or they're not going to keep raising rates. If the Fed keeps raising rates, it's bad. If the Fed stops raising rates, it's bad because then it means the economy is getting too weak to handle more rate increases. I mean, you could spin everything into a pessimistic outlook. I could also spin everything into an optimistic outlook. And I think this is probably dependent on your own personal disposition, your own beliefs and biases. But I think when we're facing unknowns, there's a tendency to go into the negative scenario, not the positive scenario. The positive scenario is what could go right. And I'll just use Warren Buffett as an example, who always says, don't bet against American ingenuity. He is investing in this cycle, in this market. He is investing regardless of who's the president of politics. He's not stopping either. He is old enough to have seen the cycles come and go, up, down, back and forth, left, right. He's seen it all. So I'm going to use him as an example and say that his positive outlook, his sunny disposition, his calm demeanor is what keeps him invested. It's what gives him staying power. And staying power, I think, is the most important thing, the most important trait that any investor slash saver for retirement could ever have. Do you have staying power is the question. Now, there are things you could do to build up your staying power. And I'm not talking about like willpower or determination. I'm going to do this no matter what, because that kind of thing only lasts for so long. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a quick thing in the market. We'll talk about the new IRA contribution limit for 2023. We're just about to end tax season 2022, but it's really time to focus on 2023. We're going to roll a quick intro, and then we're going to get into a couple of things. Here we go. All right, let's talk about staying power first, okay? Staying power, how do we define that? Okay, look, one thing you could do is have an investment portfolio that is more stable, with more stable investments. Maybe instead of having all stocks or all stock mutual funds and exchange traded funds and individual stocks, maybe you need to take an approach that has more bond funds or individual bonds, investments that give you stability, and maybe individual bonds to give you the certainty of knowing that some of your money on such and such a date will be there no matter what. And you have less money invested or a less volatile portfolio. Now, let's just determine here the difference. Let's just decide right now the difference between volatility and risk, because Wall Street uses these two words, volatility and risk, interchangeably, and I think it's a disservice to you. So I want to break it down and focus. By the way, while you're watching, whether if you're watching it live or in the replay, give us a thumbs up. a heart or an applause, a wow, whatever reaction is available to you, depending on which social media platform you're watching from. And I get to see who's out there, give you a shout out, and leave a comment for a question, right? If you have a question about what we're talking about, I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up in the comments. Even in the replay, I will see the questions. I will get back to you. It's a lot of fun that way. Or just hit me with your favorite emoji, because when you do that, it also helps spread the word of the good show to the rest of your contacts who you're connected with on social media. And it's just a lot of fun, and words of wisdom and words of encouragement are always appreciated. Okay. So the difference between risk and volatility. I feel like my dog. Okay. Let's so the difference between risk and volatility. Volatility of your investments, of your 401k, of your overall accounts, are the ups and downs of the stock market when you have a long time horizon, when the need to start using the money you've invested to replace your income when you retire. Okay. If that's a long distance out, the ups and downs of the stock market is volatility. Risk is something I define differently. Risk is the ups and downs of the stock market when your need for your money to replace your income is close at hand, is in the near term. There's a very big difference. More time, volatility; less time, risk. Remember, your time horizon is what determines your risk tolerance. That's where we start. Now, there's lots of individual, personalized things to define your risk tolerance, but we always start with time horizon. Translates to risk tolerance. Longer time horizon, higher risk tolerance. Lower time horizon, lower risk tolerance. So to give you a better example is, if your time horizon is near term, where you're going to start to need some of your money from your investments, you're going to have to start withdrawing money from your investments to pay for your expenses, to replace your income, and the market goes down, you have less money to pay for your investments. You have lower valued investments to withdraw from. So now you're selling at a loss. That's risk. And the problem with selling at a loss when the market's down is that you have fewer shares remaining that you're holding on to still to recover. It's called the negative sequence of returns, if there's actually a term for that. However, that's the difference between risk and volatility. Volatility is just the ups and downs of the stock market when your goals are far away. Risk, on the other hand, again, is the ups and downs of the stock market when your goals are close at hand. So aside from investing in a less volatile portfolio to keep you invested, because some people, no matter what, they're going to get spooked out of the market. They're just going to say, I'm in it for the long term, but when the market goes down, they're out. They can't take it anymore. So we need to make sure you're in a investment portfolio that you can live with, that takes into consideration that, you have a lower threshold of pain for short-term fluctuations in the value of your account. The other thing is to sit down and really logically, intellectually have the debate with yourself or with the financial advisor and say, we know that intellectually every bull market goes into a bear market, and then the bear markets go back into a bull market. We know this is a cycle, and we know that every bear market at the time was the worst thing ever. The one that says we will never have another bull market because the conditions that we had for the bull market that just ended will never exist again. But we always come up with new conditions and a new bull market. And that's a belief system that you really have to have if you want to be a long-term investor. Because if you don't have that belief system, you won't have the staying power those two words again, staying power. You won't have the staying power to stay the course. All right, let's talk a little bit about personal finance. Here's the personal finance section. Ready? This is going to be new. Oh, I was dancing. Okay. I'm the bobblehead. Okay. I have fun doing this. Okay. even if you're not asking me any questions. Cold-hearted orbs. Okay, Percival. So let's take a look at what I look at. I'm going to show you something so exciting. Okay, just too exciting. Here we go. Let's see if we could share the screen here. Okay, we're not sharing the screen at the moment. It just freezes me up when I try to share the screen. That's annoying. It's no big deal. All right, so IRA contribution limits. Okay, for an IRA or a Roth IRA, it's going up. Right now, it is $6,000 for 2022, and $7,000 if you're over 50. You can add an extra $1,000 as a catch-up contribution. I just got a client just sent me their IRA contribution today for $7,500. 50 plus, he's over 50, so a catch-up contribution. But that's his 2022 contribution. So it was $500 too high. So what I did is I put it into our system as $7,000 for last year and $500 to be applied toward this. I already spoke to the client about this. It's all kosher. Okay, it's all good, brother. So, but it's going up to $6,500 for next year, $7,500 with the catch up if you're over 50 plus. So I should say over 49 then, right? 50 plus. So that's that. The IRA contribution, the 401k contribution is going up to $22,500. An extra $7,500 for an IRA catch up, which will be $30,000. So if you're over 50, you've got the coin, you're making the bucks, you could contribute $30,000 to your 401k plan. Do that for 10 years and then don't withdraw it for another 10 years after that. You could be looking at some serious money for your retirement. I'm very partial to the Roth 401k, and I'll tell you why. Because when I run projections for clients who have not been with me before, clients who were with me a long time know this, but the biggest cost to you is taxes. When you take money out of your IRA, I could just tell you the day you retire, you owe about a third of your IRA to the IRS. You lose a third of your money in your retirement plan the minute you retire, instantaneously. Why? Because you have to actually pay taxes on all that money. And it happens, and then people say, I thought I would be able to live a better lifestyle in retirement. You really, it's because you have everything in traditional 401k and IRAs, and there's no Roths. So people think they're getting this tax break. Now, you are getting a tax break when you put money into a 401k or an IRA, and they go, well, but I could be in a lower tax bracket when I retire. That's BS. First of all, a lot of people are still in a pretty high tax bracket even after they retire. The other thing is, even though you could potentially be in a lower tax bracket, taking money out of your IRA could raise your tax bracket. Okay. And the other thing that's, how do I say this? When you take money out of your IRA, tax brackets are going up. They could push you into a higher tax bracket. Well, that's really the important things to know when you retire and start taking money out of your traditional IRA. The other thing is, here's what I want to say. The other thing is this: when you do retire, even if you're in a lower tax bracket, presumably the money you are working with in your IRA is going to be a bigger amount, a bigger pie. So you might have a lower tax rate, but the volume of dollars you're taking out could be up significantly, which means you're still going to wind up paying a lot of taxes on it. So plus IRA contributions, even though they're going to be pushed out to 75 for a lot of people, 72 now, actually 73 now. Let's skip that part, okay? Don't put that in there, okay, Natalie, in the snippet. But a lot of people don't realize is the tables to take your IRA distributions could change. And they could make you take out even more money than you plan from your IRA, the required minimum distribution tables. So these are the things that we have to face. And that's why I'm such a proponent of the Roth components. Okay. Let's talk about where to invest. We've got another minute to do this. Okay. Where do you invest? When you invest money in your 401k or your traditional IRA. There's two ways to go about it. You could pick the stock, you could pick the fund, you could pick the hot ETF. You could say, well, artificial intelligence is a big theme right now, so I'm going to pick an exchange traded fund that focuses on artificial intelligence, which I think is like not a great idea. And the reason is, as it is the S&P 500, which by the way is an index, you can't invest directly into an index, but you could invest in a security that tracks your membership index. Oh, did I tell you that diversification? That's a strategy that we use to mitigate risk, but it doesn't necessarily protect your portfolio from a generally down market. It doesn't keep your portfolio, doesn't always keep your portfolio from going down in a generally down market. I've said this so many times, right? Every time I say the word an index or diversification, I have to throw those in there. It's okay. I don't mind. Listen, I'm playing by the rules, and as a result, I'm making more content than everybody else because I know the rules, and I'm happy to, accommodate them, right? To put up with them. Well, I have to put up with them because that's why the rules. The hell was I talking about? Oh yeah. We're talking about what to invest in your IRA. You could pick like an artificial intelligence fund, for example, because you think artificial intelligence is going to be a great place to be. I'm not questioning the viability of artificial intelligence as an investment. I mean, there was a time when people thought the internet would be a great investment, and then internet stocks got absolutely crushed. And turned out the internet wound up being bigger than everybody could have ever imagined, and it's going to even be bigger than anybody could have imagined. Doesn't mean internet stocks are a good play. I can think of so many internet stocks that are no longer around. AOL, anybody? Okay, so, but think about it this way: the S&P 500 is already 30% plus technology. Plus, every company in the S&P 500, one way or another, as they are all internet companies, because they all do business over the internet, manage everything on the internet, all their catalogs, products are for sale on the internet. Take a look at Nike. Take a look at arranging pickup and delivery with FedEx and UPS. They're all going to be artificial intelligence companies. To me, artificial intelligence investments, it's more a matter of which companies are going to utilize it to gain an advantage over competitors, not necessarily the companies that are selling the software and chips and other hardware to make it. Okay. I do think there are a few companies in the hardware sector that will rule the roost for a while in the artificial intelligence place. But anyway, you could do that. You could buy a stock, right? You could buy whatever, something you think you should be really good, or you could just do it a different way. You could look at your investments and say, because stocks went down, I'm a little light on the stock portion of my portfolio. So maybe I need to add my new money from my 401k contribution or my IRA contribution into something in stocks and use that to rebalance my portfolio. So if I had too little in stocks, maybe I want to raise that with investing that money into the stock market, vice versa for bonds. That is another way. That, to me, is a preferred way for people who don't want to trade individual securities, and for people who are not looking for more volatility, and for people who are just really understand that they want to invest, but they want to focus on their life, their income, their family, their personal finance. Two different ways to invest. You could mix them up a little bit, and that's okay. We have clients we do that for. But usually it's one or the other. Again, we could mix it up too. But if you want to have a discussion about what's best for you, you can always reach out to me. Check me out at clientfirststrategy.com or send me a DM, and we'll set up a time to talk about this stuff one-on-one and see what's best for you. Wendy, it's nice to see you, by the way. Thank you so much for joining me. A friend of yours just sent me a friend request on Facebook. I accepted it, and I appreciate the introduction. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. You guys all have yourselves a lovely rest of the day. We'll go over the market tomorrow. Today was a decent day. It was an okay day. Just the market's trying to figure out what earnings are going to be, and they're trying to figure out what the Fed's going to do next. And until then, I don't really expect anything from the stock market. I think we've got another 2 weeks of a pretty tight range. All right. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.